Good evening. Welcome to the May 16th, 2022 meeting of the Stillwater City Council. This time I will call the meeting to order, and I'll ask that you all stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a busy agenda tonight and a few people who are in and out at different times, so we're going to be doing a little bit of jumping around, but we'll always start with the wonderful fun stuff of proclamations and presentations. And I'm going to start with a proclamation in recognition of Public Works Week. I think Mark White is here to accept this, and we'll get it read and talk about it after. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection. And whereas the health and safety and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now therefore be it resolved that I, William Joyce, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th through 21st, 2021 in the City of Stillwater as Public Works Week, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. You got to come up here and take the pictures. Next up, we have a proclamation in recognition of National Police Week. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities throughout the United States, including 81 sworn officers of the Stillwater Police Department. And whereas law enforcement officers have often made the ultimate sacrifice, and more than 23,000 officers nationwide have been killed in the line of duty, and whose names are included in the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas Stillwater police officers have continuously gone above and beyond to protect and serve our community members and visitors since inception of the department in 1927. And whereas the citizens of Stillwater and surrounding communities are grateful for our officers and their families for their unwavering dedication to public service and to safeguard democracy. Now therefore be it resolved that I, William Joyce, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, on behalf of the City Council and its citizens, officially recognize May 11 through 17, 2022 as National Police Week in the City of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Chief Watts, you say a few words? Or you...
Thank you, Mayor.
Good. Thank you for all that you do. And all the officers. I'm glad that we do those proclamations. Public Works and police officers here in Stillwater provide such a tremendous service to our community, and I hope that you take an opportunity over this week to thank them, to our Public Works officers and our police officers here in Stillwater. All right, councilors, next up is the consent docket. Are there questions, comments, or a motion on the consent docket?
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the consent docket. Please vote. Consent docket is passed with a vote of 4-0. Okay, we are going to jump now in our agenda down to item 9, resolutions. We have 2 resolutions on the agenda tonight. CC 2217 and 2214 regarding bond financing. Melissa Reams will come introduce this discussion for us.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilors. Melissa Reams, Deputy City Manager. This evening, we are here to sell bonds to fund our new fire station number 2. And I wanted to take a minute to introduce our financial advisors, and our bond counsel are here with us this evening. This is the first time the city has sold bonds in the last 20 years. So this is kind of one of those momentous events. I have Zach Robinson and Chris Gander here from Bank of Oklahoma, and they are our financial advisors, and Don Kaiser is our bond counsel. And Chris and Zach would like to say just a few words to you.
Thank you. Before you do, I'll just note that Councilor Clark has left the meeting.
Good
Go ahead.
evening. It's great to be here. Zach Robinson. You're getting a copy of the bid summary. We accepted bids this morning until 10:30 on your behalf. First, I just want to highlight the rating. Your credit rating is not an easy process. There's a lot of information that gets asked for it. I just want to say that your team did a wonderful job representing the city on the rating call. Your CFO, your finance director, your counsel just did an outstanding job of handling the rating process. Your rating of AA minus, first of all, is a really strong credit, but also the outlook was stable, which we've done a lot of these kinds of sales, and many issuers have had a hard time in the COVID era and have had their ratings changed on them, lowered. Your credit rating and your stable outlook were a really strong outcome, and it helps us to get more bidders who want to buy the bonds at the lowest rate possible. So all the just the time and effort that goes into just managing the city's financials translates directly into that rating, which helps you obtain the lowest rate possible on your bonds for your patrons. So we just wanted to highlight how strong of an effort your team made on your behalf. On the bids itself, it was an incredibly close sale. We rarely see sales this close, less than a basis point in total. So as you can see on the bid tab, the far right column, we have to award the bonds on the true interest cost, which is a time value calculation, and that's in the statutes. R.W. Baird, which is a very active firm who buys a lot of bonds in Oklahoma, submitted the low bid of 3.935956, followed very closely by Huntington Securities out of Chicago at 3.941097. So this is an extremely competitive sale. It's what we like to see. It lets us know that you found the lowest rate possible in the marketplace today. So it's a really strong outcome. And we've also had many sales this month, and it's been harder to find bidders on bonds because most people are selling their bonds right now. They're not buying their bonds. And so we've seen a lot of very active firms not bid on sales that they normally bid on. So the 4 bids is also a really strong outcome, and I think it's indicative of the credit profile of the city. So just a really fantastic outcome for you and your patrons. And for the awarding of the bonds, we would certainly recommend that you award to R.W. Baird out of Milwaukee at a TIC or true interest cost of 3.935956. If you have any questions on the rating process or the bond sale process, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. Councilors, any questions? On the agenda, we have resolution number CC-2022-17, which is a resolution awarding general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2022, in the sum of $9 million by the City of Stillwater, Oklahoma, to the lowest and best bidder. Are there comments, questions, or a motion on the resolution?
Should be a motion to adopt, right? Sorry, let me find the number. What number are we on, Mayor? Motion to adopt resolution CC-2022-17.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. Resolution is adopted by a vote of 3-0. Thank you so much for your work. We appreciate your help in the process. Our next resolution on this item is 2022-14, which is a resolution providing for the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2022, in the sum of $9 million by the City of Stillwater, Oklahoma, authorized at an election duly called and held for such purpose, prescribing the form of the bonds, providing for registration thereof, providing levy of an annual tax rate for the payment of principal and interest of the same, and fixing other details of the issue. So this is the resolution that does the mechanical work of issuing these bonds that we just awarded to the bid. Are there questions, comments on this resolution?
Motion to adopt resolution number CC-2022-14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, resolution 2022-14 is adopted. Okay. Now, we're going to go back to item 7. Councilor Clark has rejoined the meeting at this time, and we'll go to 7A, which is a public hearing for the purpose of giving members of the public an opportunity to be heard for and against the proposed 2022 amended Stillwater Reinvestment Plan, a Stillwater Downtown Campus Link project plan, prior to any vote by the council. Melissa Reams.
Good evening again. The Local Development Act provides for 2 public hearings regarding the proposed 2022 amended Stillwater Reinvestment Plan. Notice of these public hearings was published in the news press on April 16th, April 23rd, and April 30th, 2022, indicating the time and place of the public hearings and also providing website information to for the public to be able to access the amended project plan. The first public hearing was held 2 weeks ago, May 2nd, 2022, and its intent was really to provide a forum for the public, obviously, but also to allow a time for question and answers. Tonight's public hearing is really intended for interested parties to have an opportunity to be heard before you as the council take a vote on the amended project plan. And we have with us this evening our special counsel from the Center for Economic Development Law, Dan Batchelor and Lisa Harden. And Dan would like to just give you a few comments of the nature of the amended plan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the council. I'm Dan Batchelor, appearing along with my co-counsel, Lisa Harden. We're with the Center for Economic Development Law, and we've been engaged to act as advisors to the City of Stillwater and the Stillwater Economic Development Authority. The project plan amendment that appears before you, that's before you for consideration this evening, if adopted, will extend this city's reinvestment strategy to an additional 40-acre tract, forming a new increment district. If approved, then it will make it possible for the Economic Development Authority, with the approval of the City Council, to enter into a redevelopment agreement with a non-retail business. That new business is projected to invest approximately $140 million in their new facility in this community to create a new set of employment opportunities with a payroll that in time will exceed $6 million a year. The effect of that addition to the economic health of the community will not decrease the taxes of any taxing jurisdiction. Quite to the contrary, the investment and the employment and the attendant economic impacts will actually increase tax revenues for all jurisdictions in the area. So thus, the economic impact from this combined investment and new payroll is estimated to exceed a total of $450 million in positive economic impact to this community. So we strongly recommend your adoption of this amendment to the project plan, and in addition, we recommend a minor amendment that clarifies certain financing terms so that the financing authorizations will conform to the proposed redevelopment agreement that will be presented to you for consideration on June the 6th. That minor amendment does not change the budgetary totals or increase the budgetary authorization, but simply conforms the internal authorizations to what is necessary to enable the financial assistance to be provided for this new business under the terms of the prospective development agreement. So we enthusiastically recommend your approval of the amendment to the project plan and the minor clarification thereto. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Batchelor. Councilors, any questions? All right, at this time I will open the public hearing on this item. I have one speaker signed up to speak, Mr. Roger Gose.
Roger Gose, 1120 East Connell. Thank you for allowing me this time. And thank you to Mayor Joyce, Councilor Jalowski, and that gal over there. Sorry. Melissa Reams, sorry. Golly.
I do that all the time.
I've had some really good discussions about this. I support it. I think this is what we need to do. I've talked about several amendments. One of them did get made. There was a reference to a document that really didn't exist. And but from a user standpoint, somebody that uses the comprehensive plan and these core plans, this would be the last place I'd go to find out something about Total Energy Site. Now, the exhibits have been changed so that they're now showing that as an inclusion in the redevelopment area. The downtown to campus link usually doesn't take anybody out to north of Boomer Lake. That was my issue. I understand why it's being done. I just hope in the future we can be a little more on target than that wide shot. But this is a great way to get it done quickly, and I think that's why it is being done. So I hope you vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it. I have no one else signed up for a public hearing tonight, so I will close the public hearing on this item. And we will actually move at this time to item 10 on the agenda, which is ordinances related to this amended project plan. Item 10B is ordinance 3494 on second read, which is the amended project plan that Mr. Batchelor spoke of. There were, as Mr. Gose noted, there were a few changes since first read that show that expand the maps, show a little more clarity there, and clarify some of the language within the plan itself. We have the minor amendment is listed as a separate amendment here. We don't actually need to do it that way. We can fold those amendments into the ordinance 3494 amended changes. So I'm going to read second read ordinance 3494, and then I will, I guess, do we need a motion or to amend it to include the changes from 10 and 11?
So you're on second read, item
Yep.
B. You should read it by title, and then you'll make your motion
Okay.
to include the other changes.
All right. All right, so on second reading, we have ordinance number 3494. This is an ordinance amending ordinance 3407 to approve the 2022 amended Stillwater Reinvestment Plan, a Stillwater Downtown Campus Link project plan pursuant to the Oklahoma Local Development Act, designating and adopting a proposed increment district and additional project area, deferring the naming and establishing the date for creation of the increment district, adopting certain findings, authorizing the City of Stillwater to carry out and administer the project plan, establishing a tax apportionment fund, declaring apportioned funds to be special funds of the City of Stillwater or the Stillwater Economic Development Authority, authorizing the use of increment revenues for financing or payment of certain project costs, authorizing the Stillwater Economic Development Authority to carry out certain provisions of the project plan, ratifying and confirming the actions, recommendations, and findings of the Review Committee and the Stillwater Planning Commission, directing continuing apportionment, providing for severability, and declaring an emergency. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to amend this ordinance additionally by the addition of the changes to the project plan under 3495 on pages 10, 11, and 12, 10 and 11 of that plan, which is what Mr. Batchelor referred to as a rearranging of the internal financing categories, leaving the total budget the same. So I move that we add that to this ordinance 3494.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on that. We have a motion and a second to amend ordinance 3494 to that degree. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, that motion is approved. Now at this time, we can take discussion or motion on the adoption of ordinance 3494 as amended.
I move to adopt ordinance 3494 as amended.
Second.
With a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance, please vote. With a vote of 4-0, ordinance 3494 is adopted. This time, we would need an additional motion on declaring an emergency for this ordinance.
Motion to declare an emergency on ordinance number 3494 as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to declare this an emergency. Please vote. Emergency is adopted by a vote of 4-0. So we can strike item 5A from the agenda. I don't know if we need a motion or anything to that effect. All right. Well, for those of you who may not know how much work goes on behind the scenes to get something like that done, it's been quite a week getting those ordinances ready to go. I appreciate the city staff and Mr. Batchelor's firm for their assistance there. Okay. You're done. That takes us back. We can get back on track now here on the agenda. So we'll go back to item 7, public hearings. Item 7B is a hearing to determine whether the structure is located at 2420 East 12th Avenue, Stillwater, Oklahoma, is dilapidated as defined in 11 OS 22-112C and abandoned as defined in 11 OS 22-112.4E. This was continued from April 18th, 2022. Also make a note that Councilor Jalowski has left the meeting.
Mayor, I have a
Yes.
update on item 7B. Attorney Beth Ann Childs has made contact with the property owner, and if you'll recall, the last time we met, when we continued this from April 18th, the property owner had said that she had engaged representation to list the property for sale. It has been listed for sale, and as such, my recommendation would be to table this item until August 22nd to give the property owner an opportunity to sell.
Thank you. Is there a motion to that effect?
Motion to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the recommendation to table this item to August 22nd, 2022. Please vote. It's approved with a vote of 3-0. Item 7C is public hearing to receive public comment regarding a request to rezone properties addressed as 5823, 5911, 6001, and 6099 North Perkins Road from general industrial to residential single-family small lot. It's a CC-22-86. Do we have good notice on this item?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Brady.
That's right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to take this moment real quick to introduce to you our new city planner. This is Jacqueline Porter. She comes to us from Leavenworth, Kansas, and she is a graduate of a university that's about 70 miles south of here, but it's only because their master's program is in city planning. So we're grateful to have her here, and so, yeah, I wanted to introduce you to her.
Thank you. Welcome, Jacqueline.
Hi, guys. Good evening. Well, as you stated, my name is Jacqueline Porter. I'm the city planner. Tonight, I'm presenting to you a map amendment 2202. At the property, they're rezoning from general industrial to small lot residential at the location of 6099, 6001, 5911, and 5823 North Perkins Road. The subject property is located on the southeast corner of Burris and Perkins. To the west of the subject property, across Perkins, is Canyons neighborhood, and then to the south just a ways is the Tower Park subdivision. Here's a street view looking to the east, southeast of the property off of Perkins. The subject property is currently undeveloped, as you can see. The zoning map, the subject property is currently zoned general industrial. To the south and to the east of the property is zoned also industrial, but it is also undeveloped. The further to the south and to the west is zoned RSS. And then the future land use map, we refer to this for forecasting where our development's going to go in the future, all that good stuff. Here we go. All right, and zoomed in. It was proposed to have a commercial strip along Perkins, high density on the 2/3 to the east of the property. Do you have any questions for staff?
Counselors, any questions? I would just ask Jacqueline, if you go back to the current zoning map,
Yes.
so the crosshatch section is what they're requesting on rezoning.
Correct.
Does it extend to the Perkins Road line, or is there like a strip? It looks like there's a strip of industrial that would remain. Is that just a mapping issue?
I think it was just a mapping issue, how it overlays, because if the road has a right of way, and it's just how it is.
So there wouldn't be a
there would not be a strip.
Weird zoning in front of this. Okay, thank you. All right, I appreciate that from staff. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. I don't have anyone sign up to speak on this item, and so I will now close the public hearing. And Jacqueline, let us know what the Planning Commission recommended.
Commission approved it 4-0.
Thank you so much. Councilors, questions, comments, motions?
Motion to approve Planning Commission's vote.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to rezone this property. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, that rezoning is approved. Okay, that takes us to item 8, general orders. 8A is approve an award of contract to Lake McMurtry Nature Trail Project. Approve award of a contract for Lake McMurtry Nature Trail Learning Project to Gelino CCC in the amount of $284,708. Approve associated budget amendments and authorize the city manager to sign a grant amendment agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Tourism and Recreation. Mr. McClenny.
Good evening, John McClenny, Special Projects. In 2020, Lake McMurtry Friends received a grant for a recreation trail grant for a nature learning trail. It's a $300,000 project. It's 80% grant funding and 20% match. And the City Council authorized the matching funds of $60,000 at that time. The project was designed and bids were solicited, and all the bids that we received exceeded the budget, and they were rejected in November 2021. Staff and Lake McMurtry Friends and the consultant worked together to modify the design and decrease the costs. We opened bids for the redesigned project on March 16th of this year. All 5 base bids again exceeded the available budget. Lake McMurtry Friends received an approval for an increase from the Oklahoma Department of Tourism and Recreation, and Lake McMurtry Friends has agreed to cover the increased match that goes with that increased grant funding. The project budget will be revised to $337,351. We've previously spent $47,947 on a design contract, so there's $289,404 remaining in the revised budget. Gelino CCC was the low bidder with a base bid of $284,708. Do have a recommendation. I'll pause if there's any questions. Jill Van Edgemond with Lake McMurtry Friends is also here tonight to help answer questions if necessary.
Thank you, John. Councilors, any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to tell Jill thank you. It's got to be a frustrating process to have a vision and have to keep coming back and trying to make it fit budget. We do that in our personal life, but I know it's got to be really, really tough with Lake McMurtry. But thank you for being diligent. Lake McMurtry is a true gem, and I think people have realized that over the last couple of years. So congratulations and thank you.
What's your recommendation, John?
Okay, we recommend a motion to award the bid for construction of the Lake McMurtry Nature Learning Trail to Gelino CCC in the amount of $284,708, approve the attached budget amendments, and authorize the city manager to sign a grant amendment agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Tourism and Recreation.
Thank you, sir. Counselors?
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept that recommendation. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, that is approved. Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jill. Item 8B is approve the purchase of property located at 2212 West 6th Avenue in an amount not to exceed $201,000, including closing costs. Approve the budget amendment appropriating the funds from the Sales Tax Transportation Fund, and authorize the city manager to sign related documents. Mr. Carnes.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This will be the fifth property we've purchased to accommodate the right turn lane for the proposed widening of 6th Avenue. And this, again, is at 6th and Western. We've previously discussed this in a study session in February of 2019. Our agreement with ODOT is they're responsible for the construction and design costs. City of Stillwater is responsible for purchasing right-of-way and utility relocation costs. The design engineers submitted their 60% design drawings, which indicates the need for the right-of-way for a right turn lane at that intersection. And the last of the needed properties for the additional right turn lane was recently put up for sale. Again, we're talking about this area right in here. You've previously approved the purchase of this property, this property, this property, and this property. The last two tonight, we're talking about this property and this at this time. As we've stated previously, the right turn lane will require right-of-way and easements that utilize the entirety of the front yards. Increases the slope on the property. Steep driveways, we don't want cars backing into 6th Avenue. Basically, it makes the property unusable. The purchase price is $200,000. The realtor indicated they had planned to put it on the market for $215,000, but they would sell it to the city for $200,000. We're estimating $1,000 in closing costs. There is a long-term lease with a tenant. That lease expires in December of '24. We believe that ODOT, at this time, we believe ODOT's construction schedule will allow us to honor that lease, those lease terms. We will continue to rent it to the tenants. If they want to leave early, I'm certain we wouldn't object, but if they want to stay there full-time, we'll collect the rents, put those rents back into the 260 fund. I know we have a similar arrangement, at least one other property. We'll do the same thing. We're looking at internally whether we want to manage those or hire a rental agency to help us. Right now, we think we can do that in-house, but if we need to change that, we will. What happens to the structures in the future? Once they're vacant, if we can sell them for salvage and have them removed from the location, we'll do so. Otherwise, they'll have to be demolished. Any questions? And I have a recommended motion after your questions.
Thank you, Monty. Counselors, any questions?
You just said this is the final property we need for this, right?
Pardon?
This is the final property we need for the widening of that intersection.
It's the final properties we need to acquire the structures. There will be additional right-of-way needed from the other two properties, and as we go further east, but FHWA has some very strict procedures you have to follow. We were able to do these because the property came on the market, and so we could anticipate that. But from this point on, we'll wait till we go a little further down the road. We'll recommend hiring a firm like we did on Perkins Road that specializes in this and make sure all the I's and T's are dotted.
Okay, thank you.
What's your recommendation, Monty?
Recommendation is a motion to approve the purchase of property located at may be 2212, I'm sorry. West 6th Avenue, an amount not to exceed $200,000 plus 1,000 closing costs. Approve the budget amendment appropriating the funds from the sales tax transportation fund and authorize the city manager to sign related documents.
Counselors?
And it is 2216. Thank you.
Motion to approve staff recommendation for the purchase of property located at 2212 West 6th Avenue.
Wait a minute, I have a
Hold
question.
Excuse me. Should be 2216. I'm sorry.
2216.
Okay, well, everything in our packet says 2212.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it is. Including, I believe, the contract.
I am a bit embarrassed here. I guess they have it in another place.
The contract
It is
says
2212.
2212 also.
Yeah, it is 2212.
Okay, all
It's
right.
2212.
My mistake.
Then I
Okay.
second that motion.
Okay. Gave me a heart attack.
Yay.
Do I need to say it again?
No.
Okay.
I think we have a motion to
Got
approve
it.
the purchase of this property at 2212 West 6th Avenue.
And I seconded it.
And there's a second, and so now we'll vote. With a vote of 3-0, that purchase is approved. Okay, that takes us to item 9C, Resolution CC-22, -2022-16, a resolution of the Stillwater City Council adopting an operating budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. Christy Cluck.
Good evening, Christy Cluck, Finance Director. And the budgets that are attached to the resolution are unchanged from the budgets that were presented during the public hearing on May 2nd. So it is staff's recommendation to adopt that resolution. But I'm happy to answer questions if anything's come up in the meantime.
Thank you, Ms. Cluck. Councilors, any questions or motion on the resolution?
I move to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, the budget is adopted. Again, that is always so anticlimactic when we get to this point because you guys have put in months of work to get us to that. We really do appreciate that work, and we'll talk some more about other budgets here in another meeting. Item 9D can be skipped. We took care of that issue already. We've already handled 10, so we're to item 11, reports from officers and boards. Ms. Carnley.
Yes, a request for an executive session pursuant to 25 OS Section 307B2 to discuss labor negotiations with Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 102, and also a request for an executive session pursuant to this under the same authority to discuss labor negotiations with IAFF Local 2095.
Thank you. Mr. McNichol.
Thank you. We will once again have the Stillwater City Hall HR team holding open interviews this Saturday, May 21, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in room 121 at the Community Center. Individuals have an opportunity to interview for library shelver, maintenance worker, and library administrative clerk positions. No appointments necessary. Don't miss out on this unique hiring opportunity. If you're looking for a job, the city's hiring in those areas, and you can get a complete explanation of those positions and the benefits that go with them.
Excellent. I will just make a personal note that I was, in fact, a library administrative clerk at the Stillwater Public Library in 1999, and it was a great job, so you should show up and apply for it. And those other ones that you listed as well.
Good.
Vice Mayor.
All right. Stillwater's first ever Enchantment Under the Sea dance will be Friday, June 17th from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Stillwater Public Library parking lot. Tickets are $25 per couple, $10 for each additional child, and covers admission to the outdoor family dance, live entertainment, crafts, a bounce house, a snow cone truck, and other snacks. Visit tickets.stillwater.org to learn how you can purchase your tickets today. So Stillwater First Enchantment Under the Sea dance, parking lot of the Stillwater Public Library, June 17th, 7 to 9 p.m.
Super exciting.
Yes.
My daughter and I have missed the daddy-daughter dance the last couple of years, so I really appreciate the city staff for putting this together and getting everybody out to that event, because this will be daddy-daughter, and this is for everybody.
This is for everybody. Well,
So-
and it is my birthday, so I appreciate the library
well.
giving me a party on my
Excellent.
birthday. So
Make
I'll
sure we
be
get a
there.
banner.
That's right.
Thank you. Councilor Clark.
Well, speaking of exciting, come fish with local police officers and the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation at the annual Cops and Bobbers event this Saturday, May 21. The youth fishing event will take place from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the west side of Boomer Lake. There will be food, fun, and fishing. You don't want to miss it.
You don't. Cops and Bobbers is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
I just want to point out, you can drop your child off to fish while you go apply for jobs at the community center. Same time. Built-in babysitter.
Good to know. I will let you know that the Stillwater City Council will not have another meeting until June 6th, so here are a few dates to remember before then. City offices will be closed Monday, May 30 for Memorial Day. Trash and recycling is collected as usual. City Hall's new hours of operation start on June 2nd. The building will be open Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. That's our pilot program for the summer to give folks more time in the morning or later time after work to get in Monday through Thursday, and then a shorter day on Friday as well. So please take note of those hours. I hope we see folks take advantage of those. Also, please note that many city services can be completed online outside of regular business hours. Visit stillwater.org/online services to learn how you can pay utility bills and tickets from home. Okay. Item 13. Hold on a second. I got to get my agenda up. Item 13 is appointments to the Audit Committee. I got to get there in my packet. See, I'm using this electronic packet.
I'm so proud of you, Mayor.
It's taking me forever.
You were our last holdout.
This is why. Where am I?
Are you using the bookmarks?
No.
Well, that would help.
I know. I know. Oh, there we go. Hey, look at this, a piece of paper.
So close. So close.
All right. There are two open seats on the audit board. I'm all confused now, looking at paper. Mr. Austin Pollard his term is expiring, but he was asked to be reappointed, so I will nominate Mr. Pollard to be reappointed to the Audit Committee. I'll also nominate Rachel Dominic, CPA, to be appointed to the vacant position on the Audit Committee.
Second.
All right, we have a second on those two nominations. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, those nominations are approved. Thank you so much to Austin Pollard and Rachel Dominic for their willingness to serve on our Audit Committee. It's a very important function here at the City of Stillwater. All right. Before item 14, I will now recess the Stillwater City Council meeting, and we will move to the Stillwater Utilities Authority meeting. I'll call to order the SUA meeting for May 16th, 2022. On the consent docket, we just have meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. The consent docket is approved by a vote of 3-0. Under general orders, we have item A, authorize the general manager to contract amendment number 1 with Freeze and Nichols for preliminary and final design, bidding, and construction services for the new Cathodic production system for the COP pipeline. Mr. Barth, I'll let you continue.
David Barth with City Engineering. Tonight, here to revisit the Cathodic Protection System project. If you remember, back in August of 2021, you all authorized us to hire Freese and Nichols to study the Cathodic Protection System on the CAW pipeline, as well as some other facilities that we have, some elevated storage tanks, ground storage tanks, and some wastewater lift stations. So Freese and Nichols has completed their evaluation. Much of our system needs to be replaced, which we kind of knew already, but we didn't know to what degree. So on this slide, you can see we've got just a picture I've shown before with the leak of the CAW pipeline on the left side that's due to corrosion. On the right, you can see there's an example of a cathodic protection system using an impressed current system, which is what we have and what we will be installing. The project location, as I mentioned, the CAW pipeline, which extends from CAW Lake down to the water treatment plant carrying raw water, and then from the water treatment plant south to where it kind of intersects with the OSU water treatment plant. That part of the CAW pipeline is carrying treated water. And so that entire line needs to be cathodically protected. And if you see those little red dots there on the alignment, those are cathodic protection test stations. So we have one about every mile. We should have more than that. We should have about 5 times the number that we have. So that's part of this project. We'll be adding more cathodic protection test stations. Additionally, we'll be adding more rectifiers, which I'll show you a picture of in just a second. Right now we have a single rectifier at Call Lake and another rectifier at the water treatment plant. We should have one about every 8 miles. So this is an example. Again, this is a picture I showed last fall, but the Call pump station rectifier there on the left is at the end of its useful life. The central tower rectifier, which was installed in 2018, it's much newer, and this is the newer technology. So that's what we'll be looking to install with this project. This next slide just shows the strategic plan alignment and our budget and funding. So with tonight, I'm asking for trustees to authorize an additional $169,600, which will come from the water capital and wastewater capital funds to fund preliminary and final design, bidding and construction services from Freese and Nichols. And before I ask you if you have any questions, I would also like to add that we're putting together a package to clear the right-of-way over the pipeline. To my knowledge, it's never been done. Across the 44 miles, we have about 4 miles that is dense forest. And so we'll need to have all of that cleared to work on our pipeline anyway. And so we'll be looking to put together a bid package to advertise for those services. But any questions about cathodic protection before I recommend a motion?
Trustees, any questions?
I have many questions, but I'm not going to waste the time on it. Having grown up in the boating business, I dealt with galvanic corrosion a lot, and I understand where we're headed with this. So,
What's your recommendation for us?
Sure. Staff recommends a motion to, 1, authorize the general manager to execute contract amendment number 1 with Freese and Nichols for design, bidding, and construction phase services for the cathodic protection systems in the amount of $154,189. To authorize total expenditures not to exceed $345,300, which includes the original study phase, Amendment 1 services, and a 10% contingency. And finally, approve the related budget amendments.
Thank you, David. Trustees?
move approval of staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve staff's recommendation. Please vote. It's approved by a vote of 3-0. Thank you, David. Item 6A is Resolution SUA 2022-6, a resolution of the Stillwater Utilities Authority adopting an operating budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. Ms. Christy Clark.
Yes, and again, the attachment to the resolution is unchanged from the public hearing version that you saw. And so it is staff's recommendation to approve the resolution.
Thank you, Christy. Trustees?
Move to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. Resolution is adopted 3-0. There's nothing further on the SUA agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn SUA. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, Stillwater Utilities Authority is now adjourned. This time I will call to order the Stillwater Economic Development Authority meeting for May 16th, 2022. First up is the consent docket. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, the consent docket is approved. Item 5A, consider recommendation from TIF number 3 Implementation Committee regarding a small business enhancement funding request from Callie Crisp, DBA Social 174 Stilley, and authorize staff and special counsel to enter a small business enhancement agreement with Social 174 Stilley. Melissa Reams.
Good evening, trustees. This is one of the best parts of my job, to get to bring to you these economic development projects and for you to meet some really great entrepreneurs that call Stillwater home. So we're going to start off this evening with Social 174 Stilley. And I wanted to pull up her visioning board if I can find it here quickly. And if I can't, it was in your packet. Here we go. Kevin, thank you, Kevin. This is where I wanted to start. The applicant is Callie Crisip, and this is a sole proprietorship. So she's doing business as Social 174 Stilly. Callie is with us this evening. I'll let her get up in front of you and give you a few insights into her business and how the journey that she's made to get here. Your implementation committee met on May the 2nd and reviewed her application. She is asking the TIF to participate with her in a small business enhancement. She's leased the space down in the American Legion building where Precision Flooring used to be, and that address is 607 South Main Street. And she is asking us to partner with her as she updates the facade down there. So I'm going to ask Callie to come up and just give you a flavor for what her business is and how she intends to use the space, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions before I give you the recommendation from the committee.
Good.
So I'm Callie. As you guys can see, Social 174 is the name of the business, and just to kind of give you a roundabout idea of what that means, people ask all the time. So it actually kind of started in a car trip with my girlfriends from Minong, Wisconsin to Minong, Wisconsin from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And it was during COVID. Of course, you guys know that was a weird time for all of us. And I just knew that I wanted to do something with food, and I wanted to do something with people, and I wanted to have some type of something to get me out of my house, because as an extrovert, it was not going well. So I'm a social butterfly, so that's where the social part came from. And 174, as you can imagine, is exit 174, how you get to Stillwater. So that was kind of the vision behind what the name of the company is. What we do is we do different types of charcuterie boxes, spreads, cups, all kinds of things to help people celebrate life's important moments and try to keep them from having to put all the work on themselves and try to take it all on us. So this space will serve as a commercial kitchen in the back, and then I'll have an event space in the front as well as an office space for my other business as well.
Excellent. I had some charcuterie box of yours at an event last week or 2 weeks ago maybe, and it was fantastic.
Well, good. Thank you.
I'm excited. This
Appreciate
space will be, this is a great spot close to 6th and Main for an enhancement, and that facade will get lots of views from that corner.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
I'm really proud of you. I've watched your business grow from the very beginning, and Shannon Williams and I couldn't be more pleased that this will be the second business from Mary Main Street that started online and will now be bricks and mortar. And so we are excited for that excitement, and just congratulations.
Thank you very
That's
much.
awesome.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for being here.
Okay, thank you.
So as I said, the committee met on May 2nd and reviewed the project application. And their recommendation to you as the trustees is to approve the investment in this project at an amount not to exceed half of the project costs, up to $9,975.16. And staff will enter into an agreement with Callie and get that work done. So that'll go right along with our Merrifield, our clean white with purple. It'll be really, really pretty.
Excellent. So do you have a recommendation for us?
So the motion is to approve the recommendation from the implementation committee to fund half of the project costs at an amount not to exceed $9,975.16.
Thank you, Melissa. Trustees?
Motion to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this small business enhancement funding request. Please vote. 3 enthusiastic yeses. It's approved. Looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Looking forward to having everybody down to see it.
Item 5B is consider a recommendation from the TIF number 3 Implementation Committee regarding the proposed redevelopment agreement with Gaia Holdings Llc, and authorize the general manager and special counsel to negotiate, finalize, and execute terms of redevelopment agreement for the project consistent with the term sheet.
Okay, the second project this evening is with Gaia Holdings LLC. They have purchased the property at 1017 South Main Street. So think where the Salvation Army is, their resale shop, you're going just to the south. And I think there's 2 houses on the property in there. So that's the direction they're going. And as we all know, that end of Main Street needs a little love. The principals are Alberto Gallarda and his wife is Stephanie, and they are here with us this evening. They're going to come up and give you a flavor for their project. And then I will have the recommendation from the committee on this particular project. So Alberto and Stephanie, and I've got your PowerPoint from the other day pulled up, so if you want to just click through that, or do you? Okay.
Good evening, Major Joyce and trustees. We'll probably go through this real quick because I know we have a lot of content from the last opportunity we have to present. My name is Alberto Gallardo. I'm a Stillwater resident. Actually graduated from OSU with an engineering degree, and I work as a supply chain leader for an energy company and also a managing member of Gaia Holdings. So want to tell you kind of what the concept is. I know you already have this in the package, but our intent is to create, and the address that Melissa already mentioned is a state-of-the-art climbing facility with kids' interactive area, fitness equipment, retail space, juice bar, and multiple sitting areas for students and professionals to not just work but study as well. But actually, the mission and the vision for the city of Stillwater really resonates with us because we started working on this project because we are very involved in the community. I actually act as a youth mentoring chair for a nonprofit here in Stillwater called Resilient Pain County. Me and my wife actually are pretty active rock climbers. We climb all over from Norway, Germany, Canada, all around the U.S. And more than just the physical and mental challenge that you can get when you're rock climbing, when we look at the research data, we see all the benefits that rock climbing and activities like this can do for youth. So we're very excited about bringing a facility where we can create a healthy and a safe environment for families, for youth, OSU students as well, but really any members of the community and even Payne County. We think that people can reach their fullest potential through climbing, nutrition, and human connection. I will probably, let me see, go to that. I won't go through the bio, but here's kind of the core elements of our business, right? Of course, trying to link downtown OSU campus. Finding a facility actually was quite challenging. You know, we look at around the state of Oklahoma, and then you have multi-million-dollar facilities in Oklahoma City, Tulsa. You have one in Norman as well. Another one in downtown Oklahoma City, and the most recent facility actually started in downtown Edmond off of Broadway. So the challenges is the space, right? So we needed a space of about 6,000 square feet. We worked with Melissa actually quite a bit and a few builders here in town to try to find the perfect space. That quickly proved to be a big challenge. We actually spent about 7-8 months trying to secure whether it was a lease or to buy a property. And really what we decide with the amount of assets that we're going to put in this location, it really just makes economic sense to actually invest into the property, and also we can also tailor the facility and do something that, in our opinion, we didn't just want to have a facility or a climbing gym, but we wanted to do something to make the people of Stillwater proud, and they will be excited. And also we know, as Melissa mentioned, it might be a challenging area, but hopefully with the business that we're planning to bring, that will also encourage other businesses to come here. Now, again, climbing gym, I think that's the big concept. Nutrition is extremely important. That's something that we introduce when we do the youth events. We like to talk about that. It's not just about sports or all the different activities. You also have to look at the nutritional element of things. Fitness, arts, or nutrition, we plan to promote and create an avenue for local artists to promote their art and hopefully sell it at no commission. Non-profit events, I'll touch on that one here in a little bit because that's really, it's at the heart of everything that we do. And let me just jump into this one. So this is a quick article, and you can see some of the events that we've done in the past. We started doing this back in 2018. Again, our main goal has always been to provide this type of events for the different agencies across Payne County. I like to think that we act as a bridge, right, where we have the different agencies and where our skills and our background, then we bring kind of like the logistics and we interact with the local businesses and figure out a way to provide these services at zero cost. We never want for an event that to have like a $5 cost, and if a parent has 4 kids, for those $20 to be the deciding factor whether they can go or not. So that's our main goal will continue to be to support these events and actually scale that now that we have more access to the scheduling, as well as figure out kind of like the policies and procedures for a lot of these facilities, as well as the liability guidelines for any fitness facility are very specific to every single location. So by us managing this one actively, we can tailor that to adapt to the support of the community. So this is just a little quick snapshot for those of you that were probably wondering, well, why climbing? Hopefully you've done this in the past. I know Norman he's a phenomenal hiker. He's done quite a bit of hikes. But if you haven't had a chance to experience rock climbing, I just want to leave you with a few things of why climbing and resilience is important, right? It creates trust and cooperation, improves self-esteem and confidence. It creates a positive community, right? It all starts with the community. Stimulates flow, creativity, environmental stewardship, and also encourages you to see life from a different perspective. In all these years that we work with youth, we actually work with youth not just in Payne County, we also work with youth in Oklahoma City, Memphis, Tennessee, and also outside in some parts of Latin America as well. And I mean, I never seen a single time when a kid reaches the top of the climb and they have the biggest smile on their face, and it's quite a rewarding thing. And also, you know, it just helps them realize, you know, if you try, it doesn't matter what your body type is, because the beauty of rock climbing, there's no really distinction between sex or religion or any other beliefs, right? Age, everybody can try to solve. We actually call them climbing problems, right? Because it's just like solving a problem. So everybody can try to do that, and it's actually quite exciting to see people in the community that grows around that, where everybody encourage each other to do that. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention, that back in the time it used to be a sport that you practice in the Yosemite Valley, right? It was quite famous. Now it's actually an official Olympic sport, so that's something that is pretty exciting for us. So kids now are also looking at this as an avenue for them to go into the Olympics. Now, on top of that, we also believe that it's not just the work that we do with the local agencies, but the work that we do with the local businesses that can make things like this happen. And we'll be a very active member as Gaia Holdings when it comes to contributing to this type of events. So as you can see in the bottom, there's some local businesses as well as some businesses from Colorado, just because that's the network that we have, and some other groups doing some phenomenal things across the nation and actually worldwide. So we'll be acting as another member of the local businesses that support this type of events. And I won't go through any on the. I'll show you a little bit of the market. I will prepare this for the TIF committee, right, for the presentation. So I knew I had a little bit of time, but I just want to show you kind of like what the industry growth is, right? Yes, we're passionate about climbing. Yes, we think this can help youth, but what has been happening with rock climbing in the past, even just in the past 20 years, you can almost see in 1990, we have 11 facilities. These are just net U.S. climbing gyms, so that includes facilities that open and close. So in 2000, we have 154, 2010, 265, 2021, we reached 591. So it's almost been doubling every 10 years. And if you want to know kind of like the statistics of the facilities around Oklahoma, as I mentioned before, we have Threshold Climbing, which is a multi-million-dollar facility in the northwest part of Oklahoma City. Summit Climbing, that was actually acquired by a Dallas firm that came into Oklahoma and purchased that facility. They also purchased the one that is in Norman. That is that's why it's called also that. It's part of the Summit Climbing group. Tulsa opened about 4 years ago. Another multi-million-dollar investment. It's called Climb Tulsa. You can see it off the highway. It's a gray and teal building. It's a beautiful facility. Blockworks, again, Oklahoma owned, recently opened in downtown Edmond. Actually, when we were kind of talking about with city planning about the facility and kind of like some of the things that we will need in terms of developing this facility, one of the new staff members that are part of the development, the city planning, they were actually behind that project. So it was exciting to see and get some feedback from them as well. Again, the last one, number 5, of course, in orange, being here in Stillwater, is Stillwater Climbing, which will be Oklahoma owned. And that's a little bit of a snapshot of what the conceptual design of the building will be that you have here on the screen. We're really excited, again, as we mentioned before. For the climbing facility, you can do, it's all about the dimensions, right? The elevation that you have. But, we wanted to go beyond that, where you say, when you're driving through that part of downtown, we want people to be really proud about what we're creating there, but we also want to encourage people from the surrounding areas in Payne County as well, even Oklahoma City and Tulsa. I know a lot of people that just to go to some of these facilities will travel quite a bit. So hopefully it will be something that will be a great addition to that part of downtown. And I will probably stop there. I think I have a summary there and a bunch of other ones. This is one of our main partners, right? This is a group from Memphis. It's called One Family Memphis. It's a phenomenal nonprofit, and this is their facility where we've done a lot of technical training as well as operations, safety, and really they're helping us draft our policies and procedures on how do we manage that. Now this is a different scale, right? This is a pretty big facility, right? We're talking about 40,000 square feet here. They're in the south part of Memphis, but the reason why we picked that one, and more than we picked, they picked us because we were very fortunate that they wanted to work with us. They actually, at the core of everything that they do is they have a facility because they want to help the community, right? So they actually located their facility in a place where everybody said you shouldn't go there. You want to open like a multi-million-dollar facility for rock climbing in the south part of Memphis. You shouldn't go there. Why don't you go somewhere else? And they wanted to go against what everybody said, and they're doing quite well. And they're actually very passionate about helping us. We're planning another trip to go see them and to continue to do some training. And they say as soon as you open, we're the ones coming because we want to keep helping with this. They believe a lot on the benefits and some of the things that we can do with programs like this for youth. And to have a facility open for the entire community, right? So this is our financing partners, right? We're very fortunate to be working with Arbus Bank here in Stillwater with Adam Brown and Patrick Ketcher. They're being extremely supportive and patient because we do have a lot of questions and we throw a lot of things at them. And I know opening climbing facilities is not like a very common business practice for them. So we have to all learn together. So it's been quite exciting, and Adam has been able to provide phenomenal feedback as well as a lot of support from Patrick. With that being said, that's me and Stephanie when we're not wearing this type of clothes, and we've been spending about 5 hours trying to climb a mountain, and obviously we have a big smile on our face. But if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Councilors or trustees, any questions?
I have a couple of things. First, on page 5 of your presentation, you say that it's not just about business, it's about improving our community. And I'm excited about that for a couple of reasons. To reinforce what Melissa said a while ago, that particular block can definitely use some love. And I believe that this development will inspire additional projects in that part of downtown, on the south end of downtown. The other thing is that as a former school board member and as now a city councilor, I frequently hear we need more things for our youth to do here in town, and here it is.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited about that as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for the feedback. We're very excited.
I'm going to ditto what Councilor Clark said. And I am petrified of heights, but I might try and climb it.
Oh, it'll take you 2 days.
Well, it may take longer.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Oh, I do have one more question, actually. Obviously we don't have a site plan here, so what are the parking arrangements as part of this project?
So there's a couple of things before we acquire this property, there's actually 2 different addresses, but in the county assessor is actually one I think you call it document number. We actually have a meeting with city planning where we look at the guidelines for parking and the amount of parking spaces that we need. So right now, what they estimated is with the amount of street parking that there's in their surrounding areas that we should be able to satisfy those needs. Now, we'd still talk to Melissa about the potential. We also share with the TIF committee members that we will be continuing the conversation in terms of as we continue to see growth in that area. I know Brady's group as well is looking at other parking opportunities with other developments that they've been happening with Block 34, Stone Cloud, and a couple other restaurants and businesses going in the area. But for the time being, when we presented the project, and we had about a 1 hour, an hour and a half meeting here with them, and we showed them the facility, the capacity, the type of use. They went ahead and reviewed everything and all the guidelines, and they came back, and the recommendation is that we can actually satisfy the needs for our customers and all the visitors with the existing parking. But obviously, any additional development will greatly benefit what we're trying to do in that part of downtown.
Okay. And what is the capacity of this facility?
The capacity as of right now, of course, it will depend once we have the final drawings, and obviously it goes by the fire code and everything. Mm-hmm. But we're thinking about it's a 7,000 square feet facility, and the capacity will be ranging between 80 to 100 people. Okay. Right. So, but that's a preliminary assessment, so don't quote me on that because it can change a little bit. But as soon as we have that, if you would like to get that information, we'll be happy to provide that as well.
Thank you.
No problem. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
So the TIF Implementation Committee joined in with your assessment of this project. They see that this is a wonderful project and would bring life to an underserved area of Main Street in our town. Unfortunately, we have gotten to the point now with TIF dollars that we have awarded all every bit of the $1 million, but $45,000 has been awarded. One of those awards is to the Everyman Project, and we have yet to get into a redevelopment agreement with that project. Our hope is that we get some positive news this week, but your TIF Implementation Committee is ready to take action and send you a recommendation on that particular project. That potentially could free up some money up front for this project, because Alberto and Stephanie's ask on this project was $593,000 up front, and we don't have that money to provide to this project at this juncture. So the committee came back, and their recommendation to you as trustees is to award to this project $462,740 in pay-as-you-go or in arrears funding for the project. Unfortunately, Alberto, unless things have changed, tells me that the project will not be able to proceed at this point in time unless we participate with them at the very beginning of the project. So we're in kind of a quandary here. And I don't know that I have a good answer for you as to how to resolve it.
Will we know more after?
I'm working with the Other Projects Bank, and we're hoping to hear something this week on that. SBA is involved, and so that tends to complicate matters, and I think SBA is involved on their project as well. But they've been working with Arvest diligently to get the funding in place, and the bank is very, very supportive. Would you like to hear from? Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
So we did review after the TIF meeting, and the recommendation from the committee came up. Of course, our initial discussion with Melissa at that point of time, because we started working on this last year, was to seek for an upfront support from the City of Stillwater, from the TIF committee. But after we heard the recommendation, we circled back and really got a chance to regroup with the Arbus team. When we look at the numbers and the type of support that we can get every year, we're still confident with the business model, so we can still continue to apply for SBA. But of course, the biggest thing that we try to explain to the committee is we started looking at. I know we look at the marketplace, right, downtown. Then we look at 1907. We look at different facilities that we try to lease. So quickly, the scope of our project started to grow. But when we look at the business model, everything proved correct. And I mean, the guys at Arbus, they've been putting like a triple magnifying glass at every single number, asking a bunch of questions. And the biggest thing for us was, well, we can simplify, we can do a lot of things at a different scale, but do we really want to compromise on what we're trying to provide? Because technically we have the land. As long as we get the permits approved, we can put a building, and we can just make a simple building, but we wanted to do more than that, right? I think we really believe in what the TIF committee is trying to do, enhance downtown. I used to live in Oklahoma City, so I saw what happened at the Paseo, at the Plaza District, Midtown. I mean, it's something phenomenal. You in the past you didn't go there, but if we're not able to get any upfront funding, we will still proceed and apply through SBA. Arbus Bank and ourselves truly believe that having any upfront support, even upfront or at upon completion of construction, will significantly improve our case when we come to the SBA. But by all means, even what the committee recommended and suggested, it's a phenomenal support. So we think that will still be a good application for SBA. But of course, with the scale and the scope that it grew from leasing us 5,000 square feet space to now buying this location downtown and really building something from the ground up to that it will look like the building that you have in your package. We're actually working with Lilly Architects. If you're not familiar with them, they're the ones that right across from Kane's Ballroom. They're the ones designing Oklahoma Pop Museum and also Bob Dylan's Museum of Art. So I mean, we went a little bit above and beyond because at the end of the day, we're residents of Stillwater, so we want to see something beautiful there. So anything that we can get upfront or upon completion will significantly impact our probability of success and also the business case that we bring to the SBA. But we told Melissa we're moving forward, right, to the degree that we close on the property, and we wanted to have that secure, and that's actually already part of the business loan. So we didn't close on that separately. Arbus Bank is completely behind this project. So I just wanted to add that, that clarification, but thank you.
Thank you. Melissa, what's the ability for, I assume we could come back at a later time and amend the project plan to move money from being in arrears to making it
Absolutely.
Available earlier if that's possible?
Absolutely. We can start down the path of entering into a redevelopment agreement on this project, and as things reveal themselves, we may be coming back to you and asking for an amendment to what the recommendation of the TIF committee was.
Okay, thanks. Can you just explain the 462,740? What is that number?
It's 22% of the total project costs, which include equipment, any kind of permitting fees, things along those lines, and all the soft costs. So the architect, the engineer, all of that. Whereas, and this is a significant development. Mm-hmm. It ticks the boxes on all the objectives contained in the project plan. If it were a assistance in project development, its threshold starts at greater than 200,000, but its percentage of just construction costs, so hard construction costs, starts at 12%. This project, a recommendation from staff, which is Norman and I, it really checks so many boxes for us. It was a significant development, and that's how we got to the 462 that the committee honed in on.
Is there been a calculation of what the increment collection would be?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question.
Kevin, I'm going to need you to pull this up, please. Let me escape and get out of this. Oops. Okay. There has been, we've done a lot of work on this one in particular. Okay. There you go. And I'm sorry, I always hate when I pull Excel up on this
so
page. It's so small. So let's start down here, and I'm going to try and zoom up a little bit and get this bigger for you guys, so you can, come on. Oh no, here we go. This is what I want. Okay, nope, that's too big.
No, I can actually read that.
Then it must be 2 pages.
Okay. So on the spreadsheet, what we start with is you can see the capped basis on that property back in 2018 when the TIF became effective. It's pretty low, 57,000. Its property value now today is on the assessor's rolls is about 160,000. And Alberto and Stephanie bought the property for 200,000. Then we add in building construction costs, we get to a total land value. But with significant development, their base percentage award starts at 22%. And so I started analyzing what were hard construction costs. The purchase of the property, the overall construction gets you down to these hard construction costs. And then you start adding in the soft costs, the architectural and the engineering, the permitting fees, and then the furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So that gets you down to a total investment of $2,103,362, and that's how we got to, you can see it right here, the $462,740. And again, this is a technically upfront calculation. They honed in on that. If we come over here, so if we look at total project taxes, which is anything, it's all been netted out, 684,361. And then I calculated present value here. So it's pretty close then to that 22% over time.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I just want to make sure that the increment is sufficient to cover the investment that we're making.
That's absolutely right. Now, we have received we are receiving funding from the collection off ad valorem.
Sure.
And it's a catch-22 for me. Do we keep that money and build up some reserve, or do we see, as this project so clearly demonstrates, that it's worthy of our contribution? And so how do we blend that?
Well, I think at this point it makes sense for us, to move forward, to say, we want you to move forward with a redevelopment agreement. Well, this would be my assessment of the situation. With it in arrears as recommended by the committee, but also to ask staff to work out what, to work with the developer and their team on, how we may be able to reallocate some of that, depending on funding available and, potential other options, and try to be creative about how we can make sure this actually is able to get up. And I mean, that building at that location would
stellar
be unbelievable. So I mean, it's a
it definitely
it's
checks
worth
every box, like you said.
It's worth us spending some time to work on being creative about it.
Now, Melissa, did you say a while ago that there's about $45,000 that's available now? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
So part of the plan could be to use the 45,
right,
and then do the rest of it in arrears.
Right.
Correct?
We could do that. I don't know that gets you very far down the road.
It's better than zero.
But it's better than zero. And then we'll keep working. We definitely could do that.
Okay. I would assume we'll have some time, you know, there's still a lot of levers being pulled at this point and things happening. And so over, you know, the next several weeks,
Right,
we may
right.
be in a different situation or
Right.
may have some other options that are presented.
We certainly may. And if that other option presents itself, it will be brought back to you for your
Yes.
approval, one way or the other.
So do we need action today for any reason, or if we postpone this to June 6th, would we be better prepared to vote on something?
I think what I would ask you this evening is to give permission to staff and our attorneys, our special counsel, to start working on a redevelopment agreement with the developer. And that may take us some time. We have, the committee now has put time limits on some of these
I
things.
was just going to ask
and
if we
so-
had
yes.
some time limits.
So after your approval, or after the TIF committee's recommendation, we have 60 days to get into a redevelopment agreement. It can be extended, and if we see that we're having problems, we will do that. And then once that agreement is reached, the developer has 6 months to begin construction. And again, that is, there are extensions available.
Sure.
We just have to work through the committee.
Well, and it's a learning process as we develop this
Absolutely.
and do that. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. So, Counselor Clark, that would be our recommendation to you this evening, that you authorize staff and, well, where did I have it here? Staff and our special counsel to work on a redevelopment agreement with the developer in an amount not to exceed $462,740 dollars, and it would be paid in arrears or pay as you go.
And are we done at that point, or does it come back to us for approval once the agreement's reached?
No, I mean, once you give us the authority to enter into that redevelopment agreement, you won't see it again unless you ask for it.
Okay.
We would see it again if you were going to change the.
if we're going to
Correct.
amend things.
Correct, because
The,
what you're authorizing us today is a some certain, which we may need to tweak that a little
Consistent
bit.
with the existing term sheet, but if
Yes.
we're able to figure out how to move that around, then we would come back
We
for a
need
new.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the staff's recommendation to get this process started and to work creatively with the developer as we move forward.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the staff recommendation. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, that's approved. Good luck with this project. We're really
Yes,
excited
yes,
to
very excited.
hopefully
Yep.
make it work out.
Yep.
So on belay.
And you could have a charcuterie board afterwards. Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you later. All right, that takes us to item 6A, resolutions number SEDA 2022-3, a resolution of the Stillwater Economic Development Authority adopting an operating budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. I assume this is the same budget that was heard in the public hearing. So, trustees, is there a motion on the resolution?
I move to accept the unspoken staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, the budget resolution is adopted. That's the end of this agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, SEDA is now adjourned. That takes us to our annual meeting of the Stillwater Public Works Authority for May 16th, 2022. I'll call this meeting to order. We can approve our minutes on the consent docket from last year. Is there a motion on consent?
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote. The vote of 3-0, the consent docket is approved. Item 5A is Resolution SPWA 2022-1, a resolution of the Stillwater Public Works Authority adopting an operating budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. Christy, is this the same as we've previously seen? It is. Counselors, trustees, is there a motion on the resolution?
I move to accept the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, the resolution is adopted. Nothing further on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn SPWA. Please vote. With a vote of 3-0, that meeting is now adjourned. At this time, I will reconvene the Stillwater City Council meeting. We are at item 14 on the agenda. Is there a motion to enter executive session for the purposes requested by the city attorney?
So moved.
Second.
With motion and a second to enter executive session, please vote. With a vote of 3-0, Stillwater City Council will now enter executive session. We're back. Is there a motion to reconvene or is there a motion to exit executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reconvene from executive session. Please vote, or please call the roll.
Counselor Clark,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Zanotti,
Yes.
Mayor Joyce.
Yes.
It's approved 3-0.
We're now back in regular session. There's no action to be taken on executive session discussion.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn.
Counselor Clark,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Zanotti,
Yes.
Mayor Joyce.
Yes.
We are adjourned 3-0.
We are now adjourned, and that concludes our meetings for the evening. Thank you.